We are gathered here today to honor the great American author, Ray Bradbury, whose books have inspired many other great novelists, poets, and artists, and will continue to inspire them for many years to come. We are representatives of the National Association for Books and Authors, or the NABA. We are considering Ray Bradbury for the Author of the Century Award. Although he has written many great books, the one that we are going to talk about is Fahrenheit 451. This book is a great example of the way he writes and a certain science fiction genre that all his books seem to develop. This science fiction genre that all his books contain most likely comes from his opinions on technology and its effects on mankind. But we'll tell you about this later. For now, we'll tell you about how the seashells in the book relate to the real world and Ray Bradbury's opinions.
Ray Bradbury's fear of technology taking over the world was channeled into Fahrenheit 451, his book about censorship and oppression. One specific type of addictive technology in this book are seashells. Seashells are the equivalent of the modern earbud and provide music and comfort to all who wear it. Mildred, wife of Montag, has become an accomplished lip reader because she has been wearing these in her ears on and off for about 10 years. The seashells will play music into the ears of those who wear it. Sound familiar? Today we have earbuds that connect to iPods or MP3 players. How often have you seen someone walking down the street, earbud cords trailing out of their ears? These people run the great risk of being hit by passing cars. In Fahrenheit 451, Mildred is completely oblivious to the outside world as she listens to the noise emitting from her seashells. This is even more dangerous because there appears to be no speed limit for the cars in Fahrenheit 451. The drivers in these cars even run people over for sport. In this world, don't you think people should be paying more attention to what happens around them? Yet they do exactly the opposite by listening to their seashells. Many people find comfort in being able to shut out the world around them and live inside their own little bubble. Mildred obviously thought the same. The seashells are also a form of censorship because the people listening to the seashells don't get to decide what they want to listen to. The government gets to decide what radio channels get transferred to the seashells and what music plays through them. The people with the shells in their ears have no options, no control over what they want to hear. The seashells have an addictive effect because Mildred seems to spend most of her free time listening to them. That is, when she's not watching the walls or talking to her family. Today, many people spend all the free time they have listening to music, or the radio, or TV. The thing that is truly scary is that it isn't just Mildred listening to the seashells. Everyone in the city has these things in their ears. Ray Bradbury's fears of a society that is ignorant of an outside world have come true.
Ray Bradbury's predictions about how modern-day transportation would look were not entirely incorrect. In his book, Fahrenheit 451, he predicted that cars would drive 200 miles per hour on the highway. We now have some very fast cars, but there are still relatively low speed limits. In this book, he also predicted that by now we would have air-propelled trains that were fast but silent. Today we have bullet trains that float on magnets and are also fast and silent. Today, Ray Bradbury will probably thought that due to our current big leaps in the field of transportation, that we would have these kinds of machines on the market today. We do have machines similar to his vision. He might have felt that transportation technology was moving too fast for humans to handle, and that we would hurt ourselves, others, or nature. He expressed this opinion in his book, Fahrenheit 451, when he had the character Mildred say that to feel better she likes to drive really fast on country roads and hit animals. The bigger the animal, the better she felt. This passage definitely demonstrates Bradbury's opinion that transportation technology is moving too fast for humans to keep up with safely. Another method of transportation that his book mentioned, but not commonly thought of as a form of transportation, is the pole in the fire station. It can go down really fast and still stop before you hit the floor. And it can also go up to higher floors. This is an extreme example of his views on how faster technology is advancing. Even now, we still do not have automated fire poles. While on the topic of the fireman and transportation, another method of transportation described in Bradbury's book are the salamanders. They are the fire trucks that help the firemen start the fires. They most likely reflect the changes that the current beliefs and customs had on the technology of this era. With all these examples of the methods of transportation in Ray Bradbury's book, Fahrenheit 451, we can summarize that he thought that transportation technology in his time was moving too quickly for human safety regulations to keep up with.
My topic is under technology, and specifically how the parlor walls tear apart real families. If you didn't know, a parlor wall is basically a room with multiple screens that stretch from wall to wall. I have 3 main ideas to share with you throughout this speech. Number 1, the parlor destroys families. For example, the lady that has her kids go to school 9 out of 10 days a week, and when they finally come home, she just parks them in front of the parlor and lets them watch. This is similar with certain parents in our society now. They no longer have strong relationships with their family. This is really sad. How would you like it if your parents treated you this way? I most certainly wouldn't. Number 2, the parlor wastes all your money. It costs $2,000 for one screen, almost 1/3 of guys' yearly pay. So basically you could get 3 screens for what Montag got for an entire year. And finally, number 3, the parlor creates an environment in which it thinks for you. This is a really big, important subject in the book. And Montag talks and thinks about it a lot. The parlor and just media in general is about putting on a show. For example, when the Hound was chasing Montag in Lost to Ministry, they didn't bother to chase him. They just killed a random civilian to put on a show for the crowd. I told you 3 things about technology in Fahrenheit 451. I just want to remind you of those 3 things. The parlor destroys family, the parlor wastes money, and the parlor creates an environment in which it thinks for you. Thank you for listening.
In conclusion, we, representatives of the NABA, have decided that Ray Bradbury is deserving of the Author of the Century Award for his predictions and opinions on technology and how it affects this world. Let's give him a round of applause, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Bradbury.